Today's headline is about growing public pressure across South Africa as civil society organizations are demanding stronger action against undocumented foreigners. This has sparked debate and mixed emotions across the nation, with many saying it's about time something is done, while others warn that these demands could divide communities even more. Hello, welcome back to the channel. This is a video and picture news about the latest developments as several South African civil society groups have stepped forward, calling for tougher measures and accountability when it comes to undocumented migrants in the country. Authorities are now facing increasing pressure to respond, as these organizations argue that the current immigration system is too weak and allows illegal entry and stay without proper oversight. The demand comes after growing frustrations among South Africans who believe that undocumented foreigners are putting pressure on the job market, public services, and security systems. Some of these organizations say the situation has reached a breaking point, claiming that local residents are often left competing with undocumented migrants for work opportunities, housing, and even access to healthcare. According to reports, these civil groups are not just asking for stricter border control but also for the enforcement of existing laws to ensure that anyone in the country without proper documentation faces due process. They argue that law-abiding South Africans have been patient for too long, and it's time the government takes real action to protect citizens and restore order. However, human rights advocates have warned that such calls need to be handled carefully to prevent discrimination and violence against migrants. They say that while enforcing immigration laws is important, it should be done in a way that respects basic human dignity and avoids collective punishment. The issue remains deeply emotional, with many people divided between compassion and frustration. Meanwhile, police and Home Affairs officials have already started increasing inspections in parts of Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, and the Western Cape, targeting areas where undocumented migrants are suspected to be working or running informal businesses. Several shops have reportedly been closed in recent weeks, and a few arrests have been made, though officials say their aim is not to punish but to ensure compliance with the law. Across social media, South Africans have been expressing mixed feelings. Some applaud these civil groups for speaking up and pushing the government to take control of immigration, while others say such efforts risk fueling xenophobia and deepening division among African communities. The conversation has become so heated that even community leaders and pastors have started weighing in, urging calm while calling for fairness in how the law is applied. The civil society organizations behind this movement say they are not motivated by hate or exclusion but by concern for law and order. They claim that unregulated migration has caused serious challenges in areas like housing, schooling, and job creation, and that ignoring the problem could worsen the country's economic situation. They are also calling for more accountability from employers who knowingly hire undocumented workers, saying both sides must face consequences for breaking the law. The government, on its part, has acknowledged the concerns but insists that immigration reform must follow due process. Officials from the Department of Home Affairs have confirmed that new measures are being discussed to make it harder for people to stay in South Africa illegally while still ensuring that refugees and asylum seekers are treated fairly. Still, critics argue that these promises have been made before and that implementation has always been slow. They say South Africa needs a serious plan of action, not just talk, to deal with the ongoing immigration crisis. With elections coming up soon, some analysts believe politicians might be using the issue to gain public support, making the topic even more sensitive. In towns and cities across the country, you can feel the growing tension. Some residents believe these movements will finally bring order, while others fear it could trigger more hostility. One thing everyone agrees on, though, is that South Africa needs a clear and fair immigration policy that balances compassion with control. If you're just joining us, today's headline is about civil society organizations calling for tougher action against undocumented foreigners in South Africa. They believe the system is failing and that it's time to restore law and order. Authorities are now under pressure to find a balance between enforcement and humanity, a challenge that has proven difficult for many countries, not just ours. Before we wrap up, if you're enjoying the updates and want to stay informed with real, verified South African news, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. It helps us bring you more stories that matter and keeps you updated on what's really happening around the country. Now, on a lighter note, imagine how quickly things would move if government officers worked as fast as people on social media. Maybe we'd have all these problems sorted out in a week, right? But until that miracle happens, we'll keep following the developments closely and bring you updates as they unfold. All images used in this video are for illustration purposes only. Sources: SABC News, Times Live, News 24, Daily Maverick.